This one's for the men who hate women.
Understand that the majority online are pushing an ideal that is far more extreme. There is a majority online that do promote hopelessness, that do promote looks as being the most important thing. And not just the most important thing, but the be-all and end-all.
The guys who have taken the black pill.
JNCO is part of an underground movement called Incel, which stands for Involuntary Celibate. Comprised mostly of men, Incels resent women for not showing romantic interest in them. The feds say JNCO took his resentment to a dangerous level by plotting to, quote, slaughter women at a college in Ohio.
Participation in the black pill community is a source of both venting emotions and actually receiving negative emotions. And if you look at mental health communities on the internet, what we tend to find is that everyone there is talking about acceptance and validation, but no one knows our process.
The black pill movement is a group of men who have left the dating market. They have deleted all dating apps, they are no longer asking women on dates, and they have no intention of ever getting married.
I don't think many men actually benefit from marriages or relationships anymore.
In fact, they strongly discourage any romantic feelings towards the opposite sex at all. I actually empathize with where radical feminism has rendered men as a whole, and in a quest to rightfully take back your masculinity, I'm worried that you've hitched your trailer on the back of a movement that is bound for self-destruction, and that is the black pill movement, or MGTOW, which stands for men going their own way. Just like women fall prey to the lies of feminism that have entrapped us for decades, lies about abortion, a career-first culture, birth control, men are just as capable of falling for detrimental lies in pursuit of doing the right thing.
So if I'm hurting about something, let's say I'm starting to take the black pill, and I feel those negative emotions, what I'll do is gravitate towards a community that validates my experience. And as I gravitate towards that community, I feel better. But then sometimes what can happen is the community itself can become toxic. As this starts to happen in a community, it actually worsens our mental health and distorts reality even more. We have a common phrase for this now, which is an echo chamber.
Every day, regular conservative men with good intentions are falling for the smoke and mirrors of black pillars who want you to believe that you're only a true conservative if you abstain from feelings, relationships, and sex with women. They fail to see the value in the very thing that true conservatism supports: family.
Family, family, family.
I think that one of the reasons feminism was so appealing to women is not just because it offered answers to various plights women face, but because it validated and unified them.
The patriarchy.
They felt that they lived in a society rigged against them. And for first wave feminism, there was some truth to this. Fortunately, today, men and women coexist in a society where they are legally equals. There are no exclusive rights for men that I do not have access to. Still, it's difficult to dispute that men aren't under attack. For one, women can freely hate men anywhere, in media, academia, entertainment.
Some of you are like, well, not all men. And of course, it's all men, literally every single one of them. Hate them, hate them, hate them. Someone was like, what about your dad? Especially my dad.
I know it's popular right now for female creators and influencers to say that, men can function without women and that they're so much better. Obviously, I disagree with the feminist point of view that women are the better sex, but my hot take is, what if both of those are equally destructive because both genders need and depend on the other? To the conservative women watching this, I know you're familiar with the concept of taking a red pill. The black pill movement takes the idea of the red pill even further, where red pillars believe that they've been awakened to perception-altering truths about the world around them. Black pillars feel that they've had a similar awakening about women in relationships. They deeply resent how our culture and the social environment have become hostile to men. Let's talk about some of the valid grievances the black pill movement has. Take dating. They say that the Me Too and Believe All Women movements have made it extremely difficult for men to risk normal flirtation or dating without having to worry about having their lives ruined. Fair. The black pill movement paints a picture of dating in the modern world that is not so pleasant for men. Studies suggest that there are as many as 9 men for every 1 woman on dating apps. Research also finds that women are much more selective than men on online dating platforms, which might be why women have a success rate on Tinder of about 10%, while men have a success rate of only 0.6%. The Black Pill movement looks at events like Me Too as examples of how society treats men with a double standard and is quick to vilify them.
Ansari was accused of acting inappropriately on a date. The anonymous source characterized the encounter as sexual assault. Ansari released a statement saying in part, "I was surprised and concerned. I took her words to heart and responded privately after taking the time to process what she had said. I continue to support the movement that is happening in our culture. It's necessary and long overdue."
As the phrase innocent until proven guilty suggests, our justice system is supposed to be one of presumed innocence. And this is important because 2 to 10% of sexual assault allegations are falsely reported. But Me Too was extrajudicial, encouraging society to believe all women, whether the evidence is on their side or not. The Black Pill movement is quick to highlight marriage rates. And it's true that marriage rates are falling. In 1970, the marriage rate in the US was over 76%. Now, it's at an abysmal 31%. And even if a man manages to get married under these circumstances, the Black Pill movement notes that he doesn't always have agency over whether or not his marriage lasts. After all, more than 2/3 of divorces are initiated by women. Black Pillars point out that family courts, particularly in the United States, but also in the Western world in general, grossly favor women over men, specifically in cases about divorce, child custody, and alimony. The evidence? Approximately 90% of child custody agreements in the US give preference to the mother. On average, in the US, the mother is granted 65% of custody time, while fathers get just 35%. As for alimony, in 1979, the Supreme Court found that alimony should be gender neutral. Gender neutral is not some weird box to check on a college application. It meant that alimony shouldn't be biased toward one sex or the other. So that's a good thing, right? In practice, no. Get this, as of 2010, 97% of all alimony and spousal support are paid to women. This is despite 40% of all US households being headed by female breadwinners. So men do get a bit screwed, if you ask me. So why even get married? That's exactly the point Black Pillars are trying to make. Outside of relationship dangers are other systemic double standards against men. Falling college enrollment and graduation rates, rising depression and suicide rates. It's a war on men out there. These issues are real things that many conservatives, myself included, have observed and spoken about because they need to be addressed. I can agree with some of the movement's diagnoses, even if I don't agree with its prescriptions. But as with third wave feminism, the Black Pill movement goes so detrimentally wrong in its execution of changing society. This is when it is no longer rooted in conservatism and becomes more like incel behavior, which is very soy, not alpha. If you don't know, incels or involuntary celibates belong to an online subculture who define themselves by their inability to attract women, which, newsflash, isn't particularly attractive to women, making the whole thing kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy.
The thing I hate about incels is like, they always make it women's fault, right? And the lesson I get out of that, ladies, is really, it is our fault. Because we should have more weirdos in high school.
Their ideology developed in places like the dark web, 4chan, and subreddits. If you don't know what a subreddit is, imagine a full dirty diaper trash can inside of a dumpster inside of a landfill. It's as toxic for a woman to be there as it would be for a man. Sadly, incels paint with a very broad brush to present the following picture. Young, attractive women, they believe, only want to date and sleep with chads, aka attractive, fashionable frat boy types. The incels think the hot girl will finally come around when she's ready for marriage because they're smart and they're gonna be making more money. But be wary, they tell them. Even if she agrees to marry an incel for the financial benefits and stability, she'll deny you sex while continuing to sleep with chads on the side because you're ugly. I'm ugly. And when the marriage inevitably ends in divorce, those same women get to walk away with your children and your money. Traditionally, the incel response to this perceived paradigm has been to mope and be mean to women on the internet. In the tragic and extreme case of the 2014 Isla Vista killings, a young man dubbed the king of the incels, Elliot Rodger, killed 6 people and injured 14 others near UC Santa Barbara before killing himself.
Disturbing video. Rodger called it a day of retribution. Here's the latest. Police say there are at least 10 crime scenes, 7 people dead, including Rodger, son of a Hollywood director.
So this ideology can be and has been very dangerous. Its overlap with the Black Pill movement is not complete, but there are striking similarities, particularly in the way women in dating are framed. The primary difference is in how the Black Pill movement suggests men respond. Black pillars are told to go on the offensive, to use women before women can use them, or to just reject women entirely. Pickup artists adjacent to the Black Pill movement claim to teach men how to attract women, but the Black Pill movement equates romance to simping. So if a man wants to use a woman for sex, that's one thing. However, if he starts to fall in love, they tell him he should end the relationship. Men are also encouraged to get vasectomies so they can have sex without the worry about attachment or responsibility that comes with having a baby.
Snip, snap, snip, snap, snip, snap. You've no idea the physical toll the 3 vasectomies have on a person.
The Black Pill movement treats this as a restoration of the proper order of things, as men assuming dominance over submissive women, and even invokes the Bible's authority on the issue. Even weirder, they'll tell you having sex with women is gay.
To go from, I'm the red pill, I'm fighting the matrix, I'm a freedom fighter, to, who cares about that? I have these beautiful girlfriends. You sound gay. You know who else rolls around with girls and talks to them? Gay men.
That's why it's important that we understand what the Black Pill movement is, and just as importantly, isn't. Because it's not conservative, and it's definitely not biblical. Collectivism, and collective guilt in particular, is a staple of left-wing thought. When the Black Pill movement treats all modern Western women the same, asserting that they all act in a certain manner, that's no different than when the left demonizes, let's say the unvaccinated. That's not what conservatives are about. Sure, some women, right or left, behave in the way the Black Pill movement describes, but not all. And I actually think I have a unique insight into that because my audience and following consists of over 80% women ages 25 to 35 who identify as conservative and Christian. And these women are married or they want to be. They believe in traditional values. They believe in a biblical submission to their husbands, and they don't believe that true masculinity is toxic. As conservatives, we know what it feels like to have institutions aligned against us, but we do not simply accept that we are victims. We do not make victimhood central to our identities. We look for ways to tackle or navigate around unfairness. We also don't accept defeat, and we don't lose hope. And that is, at its core, what makes the Black Pill movement inherently unbiblical and unchristian? The hopelessness.
We have an angry, hopeless, negative emotional Black Pillar who can't do anything in their life and is just in a state of doom and gloom because they're getting triggered so easily. It doesn't take much for all that emotion to overwhelm you. And the more that the emotion overwhelms you, the more you retreat into video games or distraction or whatever.
There is a bleakness and a futility to the Black Pill movement that cannot be justified in biblical terms. Studies repeatedly find that married men are happier and healthier. They live longer. Christian married men have better sex lives than non-Christian married men. Why aren't the Black Pillars bringing that up? And it's no surprise that's the case because marriage and family have lasted generation after generation, even while other traditions have faded away for a reason. These traditions didn't manifest randomly. They developed because they are practical, because generations of our ancestors recognized their value, and also God ordained men and women to enjoy each other in Him, and that includes intimacy or romance. One of God's first commandments to Adam and Eve in Genesis 1:28 was be fruitful and multiply. When we talk about conservatism, it is precisely traditions like marriage and family that we fight to conserve. So a movement that calls for the abolition of marriage or vasectomies in service of promiscuity is absolutely not conservative. Don't fall for it. Look, I get that dating can be difficult in today's world, and I'm not about to say that I understand in detail what single men face. Men feel like it's difficult to find quality women, and as I discussed in a previous video, women feel like it's difficult to find quality men too. This is America. You're free to choose to be a nihilist, but don't try to market it as any form of conservatism or especially Christianity.